I wasn't invited to my own daughter's wedding. Instead, she chose her mother's boyfriend, the man my ex-wife cheated on me with, to walk her down the aisle. That alone speaks volumes, but to truly understand how we ended up here, I need to share a bit about our family history. My daughter's name is Lily for short, and she's 25 now. Her mother Marla and I got married when we were both 25 as well. We'd known each other since we were kids. Marla came from a deeply troubled home, and over the years she spent more time at my house than her own. My parents welcomed her like a daughter, and somewhere along the way, I fell hopelessly in love with her. Despite coming from humble beginnings, we built everything we had together from scratch. Neither of us went to college. I became a truck driver, eager to start working and earning as soon as I could. Marla worked as a waitress at a local diner. Life wasn't easy, but we made it work. We didn't have much, but we had enough, and each other. When Marla got pregnant, she decided to quit her job to focus on raising our child. It was a financial strain, no doubt, but it felt like the right decision. I was earning more at the time, and we couldn't afford childcare anyway. So while I worked long hours on the road, she stayed home with Lily. By the time Lily turned 3, things began to look up for us financially. I had switched companies, earned a promotion, and was finally bringing in a steady, decent income. Life felt stable. We weren't rich, but we were comfortable, and more importantly, we were happy. But then things started to shift. When Lily started school, Marla began feeling restless. After years of being a stay-at-home mom, she wanted to return to work. We talked it through and eventually agreed. I'd cut back my hours to help more around the house, and she would find a job again. Honestly, I was relieved. I had been working 14-hour days, 6 days a week for years, and I was exhausted. The change gave me something I had longed for: more time with my daughter. I'd pick her up from school, help her with homework, make dinner. I finally felt like I was connecting with Lily in a way I hadn't been able to before. Marla seemed okay with it at first, even if a bit distant. I figured it was just her adjusting to the outside world again after years spent at home. But what I didn't know, what I couldn't have known, was that she wasn't just finding a job. She was finding a way out. As I assisted her with her homework, I had the distinct impression that I was finally establishing a connection with my daughter after all these years. The move seems to be well received by Marla as well. When she was at home, she was a little bit distant, but I understood that. The entirety of her life had been spent within the confines of the house for a considerable amount of time, and now it was time for her to leave the house and to take a break. For the sake of allowing her to have some time to herself, I was more than happy to step in and help out. While I was busy bonding with my baby, I had no idea that Marla was busy trying to find a way out of the situation. I was completely unaware of this fact from the beginning. It wasn't at her previous place of employment that she found employment after all those years had passed. The event took place at a pleasant cafe that was frequented by wealthy individuals. The fact that she was surrounded by that kind of throng caused her to look down on me and the living situation that we were in. Having said that, we were not impoverished, but we also did not have a lot of money or a lavish lifestyle. She started putting pressure on me to work more hours and earn more money, but I didn't want to because I didn't see the need for it. As a result, I didn't want to. If I had to choose between working hard for a little additional cash that my wife and I could very well live without, I would much rather spend time with my daughter and other family members. Marla's feelings of resentment toward me and Lily began to develop over time, and I had no idea when or why this occurred. A few months later, when Lily was 7 years old, everything came to a devastating end. Unbelievably intoxicated, Marla arrived home late. There was no amount of support or counseling that could help her get out of her drinking issue. She had acquired a problem with alcohol. When she finally returned home, I had already lost all of my patience with her. After a considerable amount of time, I began to have the impression that I was a single parent. When Marla would arrive home late, it was my responsibility to complete practically all of the things that needed to be done. Helping Lily with her academics, braiding her hair, and getting her ready for school were all things that I did. Due to the fact that Lily had become accustomed to her mother's absence, there were times when she didn't even miss her mother. As a result, that evening was the deciding factor for me. Due to the fact that I was fatigued from performing the role of both a father and a mother to our daughter, I told Marla that she needed to get her act together and be a mother to our daughter. At that moment, she broke the news to everyone. In addition to revealing that she was having an affair with another person, she disclosed to me that she desired a divorce. The subsequent several days were a haze of confusion. There is no need for me to go into the specifics. She had a chance encounter with a person at the cafe, and they went on to have a romantic relationship that had lasted for the past year. Because the guy, Victor, who is now M60, was loaded, she abandoned Lily and me in order to go to him. Although it was excruciatingly painful, I was relieved to know that my kid was safe, and it was the only thing that counted. During the custody battle, she did not engage in any conflict with me. Liliantha wasn't even something she wanted. I just informed her that she was free to do whatever the hell she pleased. But however, I did not want her to have any influence upon Lily. Given that her new boyfriend was not excellent with children in any case, that worked out wonderfully for her purposes. Suddenly, it appeared as though she had completely changed into a different person. She was not the lady I married, nor was she the mother of my daughter. She was not the woman I married. Since that time, Liliantha and I have been the only ones involved. Marla is able to enter and exit the house whenever she pleases, and she does so with expensive presents for Lily's as a means of compensating for the things that she is unable to accomplish emotionally and physically. On the other hand, the responsibility of raising our daughter solely lay on my shoulders, and I endeavored to do the best that I could. Although it was challenging, I would not hesitate for a moment to do it all over again. Proceed now to the primary concern. Ever since Lily's mother left, I have been taking care of her. Although none of us would have preferred it, the situation was what it was. To the extent that I could, I made an effort to be there for her. In addition to driving her to the majority of parties, I never missed a single school meeting, and I never missed any of her sporting events. It was my best effort. Despite the fact that I was aware that I was unable to fulfill her financial needs, I made an effort to be a parent and to be there for her. In an effort to be her friend, I made an effort to cultivate an atmosphere of openness in my home. Not that I have never made a mistake. Nevertheless, I have always made an effort to avoid doing so and to act in a manner that is commensurate with my role as Lily's sole father. However, Lily cherished the time he spent with Marla. Marla married into a wealthy family, having a lot of money. She used to make up for it by giving me expensive presents and other lavish items that I was unable to afford. I was saddened by the fact that I knew I would never be able to provide my daughter with the same level of happiness that Marla was providing for her. But at the end of the day, the fact that Lily was content was the thing that mattered the most to me. On the other hand, I missed the fact that Lily was being negatively affected by all of this in some way. Her mother was more important to her than I was because she placed a higher value on the tangible items that she received as presents than she did on the ordinary life that she and I enjoyed together. At first, I didn't get involved because she was a child, and any child would enjoy her brand new toys more than they would love the things they use on a daily basis. Nevertheless, I was unaware of the fact that this was developing into a component of her personality and that it would continue to be a part of her even as she grew into an adult. She informed me that she wanted to become a hairdresser when she was 18 years old, and as a result, I encouraged her to enroll in a cosmetology course. I was quite pleased of her because she put in a lot of effort in her work. Shortly after obtaining her degree, she began her professional career. Since then, she has made every effort to avoid coming into contact with me. In the beginning, I didn't believe that it was avoidance. I simply believed her when she stated that she was busy, and I held that belief in high regard. I was willing to give her some slack because she was just starting out at her job, and the first few months can be challenging. Because I didn't want her to feel bad, I didn't tell her how much I missed her or how much I missed spending time with her alone. I missed the two of us hanging out together. Since she was her own unique individual, she had every right to lead a happy and successful life. What else was it that I had labored very hard for? From time to time, however, it gradually became apparent to me that she was purposefully putting some gap between us. I attempted to get in touch with her on multiple occasions and even inquired as to whether or not I had committed an offense, but she never provided any information to me. Our relationship was not strained, but neither was it particularly close. I suppose that's just a natural part of maturing. Your relationship with your parents begins to deteriorate. It simply caused me a great deal of pain because she was the only thing I had. Subsequent to my divorce from Marla, I never went on a date. Due to the fact that I was always working and taking care of Lily, I never had the opportunity to go out on a date. In addition, I did not want to make the dynamics of our family more complicated and I did not want her to harbor any animosity or grievances about me. She was the only thing that mattered to me, and I was content with the way my life was going. Despite the fact that I was feeling lonely, I placed a lot higher priority on my responsibility to my daughter. On the other hand, when she began to become more distant, I had the impression that I had been abandoned and that everyone else had begun new lives, but I was still there. During this entire time, I was unaware that she had reestablished communication with her mother and had started to exhibit a preference for her over me. It has been 2 days since Lily tied the knot, and she is now 25 years old. There was a lot of drama that occurred in the days preceding up to the wedding, and I carried myself in a manner that was extremely different from how I normally behave. A few weeks before the wedding, Lily informed me that although I was a very essential part of the ceremony, she did not want to do the walking down the aisle thing. Lily and her husband Ethan are the ones who are paying for the wedding in its whole. That was a very painful experience for me because I had spent my entire life anticipating this particular moment. When I questioned her why she wanted to remove this from her wedding, she explained that she believed it was a very patriarchal practice and that she did not believe in it. I had tried not to respond negatively and had simply asked her as to why she wanted to remove it. Assuring her that I would be there for her in whatever capacity she desired, I assured her that I would respect her desires and that I would be there for her. It was 2 days later when I learned that there was in fact going to be a walking down the aisle event, but it was not going to be with me. Her mother's boyfriend, the guy she cheated on me with, was going to be leading her down the aisle. This news came as a complete and utter shock to me. It wasn't supposed to come to my attention. In spite of the fact that Ethan made a mistake by accident, the damage was already done. I questioned Liliantha about whether or not that was so, but she denied it. She ultimately revealed that she had asked Victor to walk her down the aisle because he was not a middle-class piece of garbage like I was. I continued to harass her until she finally admitted that she had asked him to do so. At that same moment, I don't believe I have ever felt as horrible as I did at that very hour. The fact that my wife had an affair did not bother me nearly as much. Ethan attempted to place the blame on himself because he was aware of the fact that she had expressed a great deal of information. He drew me aside and told me that his family was a bunch of prudes and that Lily had requested Victor to lead her down the aisle in order to blend with them. However, I was done with him by that point. In addition to expressing my gratitude to Ethan for taking her side, I confirmed to him that I would not be attending the wedding in any capacity. Although he stated that it would cause Lily a great deal of pain because she loves me, I responded by stating that I could not continue to tolerate being insulted by her. I believe that Ethan was able to comprehend my perspective as he did not request that I modify my view or budge from my position. The night in question, I believe I consumed the entirety of a bottle of whiskey. It was a terrible experience for me, and I don't remember much of what took place. I told Liliantha that there would be no further contact between us from this point forward, and I barred her from all of my social media accounts. It is not possible for me to know whether or not she responded to that, and I do not even have the courage to unblock and check since I get the impression that she does not love me at all, and it does not matter to her that I am not a part of her life. It was the last time I communicated with her. The wedding of Liliantha took place yesterday. I obviously did not go to the event, but I had a phone call from her very early in the morning, and she was in a distressed state. I was able to communicate with her since she called me from the phone that belonged to her friend. For a considerable amount of time, I was unable to comprehend what she was saying because she was crying nonstop while we were on the phone together. All she did was keep repeating that her mother had made a mistake and that she required my presence in order to salvage the situation. She explained to me that Marla had arrived drunk, and by drunk, I mean sloshed, and that she was conversing with Ethan's parents. I asked her what had occurred, and she informed me that she had been drinking. The problem is that Ethan's family is very refined and decorous, and they do not tolerate any form of crude behavior. This is the source of the problem. It would appear that this was the reason why I was not permitted to escort her down the aisle, and that it was because I lacked the necessary level of sophistication. Anyway, so Marla showed they're intoxicated and caused a major disturbance, which has resulted in a situation in which Ethan's parents have stated that they will not be attending the wedding. Lily attempted to explain to me what exactly Marla had done in between her cries, but I was unable to comprehend what she was saying, and to tell you the truth, I was not particularly interested in him. She had caused me irreparable harm, and there was no turning back now that the damage had been done. The moment she was so embarrassed by me that she took away my right to escort her down the aisle, I had finished being her doormat, I had finished running around after her, and I had finished cleaning up the mess that she had made as well. Despite the fact that I felt sad that she was going through this, I was unable to provide her with anything other than words at this moment in time and moving forward. Her family was the one she had chosen, and now she had no choice but to accept it. I informed her that she was concerned about me embarrassing her and that she was confident about her mother coming from a higher social class. Nevertheless, this has eventually backfired, and she is solely responsible for her own actions. In my conversation with her, I informed her that I would not be coming to her aid and that she was free to act in any manner that she desired. I am not going to lie, it brought me to tears to say this. Despite the fact that it seemed like I had torn my own heart out of my chest, I had no choice but to on with this. My boundaries needed to be enforced upon me. I could not allow her to set foot on me. With regard to her, I had done everything that I could. She simply viewed me as something to use, and she felt embarrassed and guilty about it. I had spent my entire life trying to make her life better, but she only saw me as something to use. It is beyond my ability to continue. I told her that I would not be able to assist her, and she immediately began yelling into the phone, telling me that if I did not save her this time, then I would not be considered her father. As soon as I finished my response, I disconnected the call and said that I had the impression that I was not your father in any case, considering the manner that you have been treating me. It was 15 minutes later when she contacted me again from the same number, but I did not answer the call. I was crying, and I can't recall the last time I was so emotional that I shed tears. I felt a strong desire to be there for my girl, but she had pulled my heart out of my chest and trampled on it as if it were nothing. I wanted to be there for her so badly. As a result, my sense of self-respect would no longer permit it. But at this moment, I have the impression that perhaps I was too harsh with her. I should have left earlier. I have no idea what has taken place so far. There has been no communication between Lily and I have not reached out to anyone else either. It's possible that I made a mistake by leaving her behind while she was in need of my assistance. I am completely befuddled, and at this point I am at a loss for what to do or how to put things back in order. Edit. After all these years, a lot of people were asking me why I had such a strong disagreement with Marla. If your heart has never been pulled out of your chest, spit on, and thrown away like garbage, then you have no idea what it is like to be treated like garbage. I am aware that she and Victor have been together for 15 years at this point, and that it has been a considerable amount of time. It is possible that they are the real deal. Nevertheless, I don't care about any of that. It doesn't matter to me if they are destined to be together or if they are star-crossed lovers. The thing that is important to me is that she chose to cheat on me and keep the whole thing a secret, rather than acting in a mature manner and carrying out this behavior. It is the fact that she ceased being a mother to our kid that I am concerned about. As a result, I had to take responsibility for her upbringing because her new boyfriend was promising her a life of convenience and luxury. My concern is that she was able to successfully remove my daughter from me by using the money that belonged to her boyfriend. This is the thing that I am concerned about. It is because of Marla that I have a wretched life, and no, I will not be the more mature person and forgive her for why she has made my life so unhappy. Absolutely not in a million years. No matter what you name me, call me a jackass, call me insane, or call me petty, I won't care. I sacrificed my life for her, and all I received in return was nothing. And to those who believe that she and Victor are a love match, you are completely wrong. In fact, the entire scene that occurred at Lily's wedding was caused by the fact that they are not a love match. Marla arrived in a state of insane intoxication. Additionally, prior to coming to meet Lily, she went to welcome Ethan's family. He was there. Liliantha was unaware that she had arrived, and she did not become aware of the situation until after the damage had already been done. In the presence of Victor and Ethan's mother, Marla began to flirt with Ethan's father while she was under the influence of alcohol. The situation appeared to be extremely awkward, and she appeared to be virtually hurling herself at him. When it originally occurred, everyone made an effort to ignore it. Nonetheless, things gradually spiraled out of control. In an effort to rescue the situation, Victor came over, and in order to do so, he had to physically remove Marla from Ethan's father. Marla was yelling at the top of her lungs, pleading with Victor to release her from his hold on her. Even he was ashamed, and he apologized over and over again. But by that point, a significant controversy had already been generated. Lily came in at this point, but this was not the end of the story. Then Victor and Marla began to argue with each other. Marla was the one who initiated the conflict. The accusation that she made was that Victor was a hypocrite, and she stated that if he was permitted to have affairs with other women, then she ought to be granted the same freedom. The jaw of Victor had dropped. However, she did not heed his request that she be silent, and as a result, the two of them ended up having a significant verbal battle with one another. According to what I have heard, and by that I mean what Marla disclosed to the entire wedding party while she was in a drunken haze, their relationship has been experiencing a great deal of difficulty. The fact that Victor continues to cheat on her with various women is something that she is well aware of. But she makes an effort to appear indifferent or oblivious because, at this moment in time, she is unable to afford to end her relationship with him. As a result of the fact that she is unable to give up the life of ease and luxury that he has provided for her at this time, she continues to tolerate his adultery. In addition to this, she has been encouraging him to get married, but he is adamantly opposed to the idea. God knows why. In the event that they get into a disagreement of any type, he makes sure to appease her by presenting her with gifts and also by purchasing items for Liliantha. There and then, Marla spilled all of her marital problems onto the table. Despite Victor's repeated attempts to convince her that this was neither the appropriate nor the appropriate time for them to discuss their problems, he was unsuccessful. A complete and utter fury ensued, during which she beat his chest, grabbed his hair, and other such acts. If she had not stopped, the situation would have been so dire that they would have been forced to call the authorities. Even though Victor had scratches on his face as a result of all the scratching, he pushed her in order to defend himself. Because she was so intoxicated, she ended up falling on a couple chairs and landing on top of a guest who was on Ethan's side. At this point, almost all the guests have arrived at the wedding location, which is where all of this drama is taking place. Everyone was able to witness the events in their entirety. They are so humiliated that they are on the verge of leaving because they are unable to cope with the humiliation that they are experiencing. Ethan's parents are completely mortified. The wedding was attended by a large number of friends and family members, and the fact that they were forced to witness all of this family foolishness was something that they simply could not stomach. At this point, Liliantha called me and requested me to come and save her, but I declined her request. I was unable to come and save her. The parents of Victor and Ethan had already left by the time we had finished our conversation and ended the phone. As Ethan pursued them and attempted to persuade them to return, he was unsuccessful in his efforts. At the same time, a couple of the visitors who were on Ethan's side left. It is most likely that they will not make any contact with Liliantha, and to tell you the truth, I don't really blame them for doing so. As soon as she sat down on the stupid floor, Marla began screaming and ranting about how she has wrecked her life and how she can't believe that she is going to spend the rest of her life with a cheater while her daughter gets to marry a decent boy. When I think about it, I can't help but believe that none of this was even an accident or a drunken mistake. In all honesty, I am convinced that Marla is so narcissistic that she arranged this in order to purposefully undermine the happiness of her daughter, just due to the fact that she was never able to achieve that level of happiness herself. Ethan is understandably upset because the wedding was a complete and utter failure. Liliantha is in a terrible mood because he has not been communicating with her. At the same time that she apologized for her behavior, she sent me an email in which she described all that had occurred. However, the apology was accompanied by the accusation that I should have responded to her call when she contacted me. It was my responsibility as her father to have been present, to have taken her side, and to have attempted to restore things to their regular state. Although I have a lot to say to her, I have not yet responded to her, and I do not believe that I will in the near future. However, there is no use in me saying anything because I am aware that she will not comprehend my point of view and my emotions. Therefore, it is time for me to protect myself. She has caused me enough pain, and at this point, I need to give myself some space to breathe. Since the beginning of my life, I have always been selfless, always thinking about other people and never putting myself first. Nevertheless, I have not received the same in return. From this point on, it is time for me to put myself first. It's possible that I will end up telling her that I need some space and that I will get back in touch with her if I want to. But for the time being, that is the most that I am able to do. Considering that I am eager for this period of my life to come to an end, I do not believe that I will continue to provide updates. Every time I think about what took place between Lily and me, I feel like I want to slam my head against the wall in disbelief and despair. On the other hand, I believe that she has been subjected to a retribution and that it has come to her on the most significant day of her life. Due to the fact that she was concerned that Ethan's parents would not like me, she chose Marla and Victor as her preferred parents. But at the end of the day, they are the ones that humiliated her and embarrassed her to such an extent that she is unable to even look at her in-laws anymore. And it was me that she had to run to in order to help salvage the situation. Please accept my apologies for the disappointment I have caused to those individuals who were anticipating a major update. There has not been any jaw-dropping occurrence. Quite a few of you were holding out hope and wishing that Ethan would break up with Liliantha, but that has not occurred either. They continue to be very much part of each other. I am not aware of any problems that may exist between them, and I have no desire to learn about them. Those are matters that should take place between a husband and a wife, and they should remain in that state. I have no intention of interfering with their life, and I am well aware that I am not welcome in any case. The fact of the matter is that I do not wish to continue being a part of Liliantha's life, even if I were. I am taking a step back at this point since I have completed my responsibilities to the best of my ability. In response to her email, I did not react. I was under the impression that I would, but then I understood that any attempt to ask her to respect my boundaries and allow me the space would be received with blame and condemnation from her. So it was practically futile to make such a request. With that being said, I recently become a member of a local biker club, and we get together once a week for a drink. It is a relief to have somebody to chat to, and I have developed a couple of friends there throughout the course of my time there. My decision to create a dating app was compelled by one of the guys. He's a young boy, but he seems to be doing well. Because they are all younger than I am, they make an effort to enlighten me on the latest activities that young people participate in. Simply put, it is quite entertaining. They have created a Bumble profile for me, and they are always inquiring as to whether or not I have any. A single one of them is going to visit me today in order to instruct me on how to communicate with women and how to secure dates for myself. To tell you the truth, I'm experiencing some anxiety right now, haha. Despite the fact that I have never done this before in my life, it is really exciting. I have a social circle, I have friends, and I have something to look forward to. I am feeling quite fortunate. It would be much more desirable for me to have my daughter and my family back with me, but I suppose that we do not always get what we want, and I need to learn to accept that fact. When I finally have a date, I will be sure to let you know about it. Wish this old man some luck, would you? Today's the day. I've got my first date in what feels like 100 years. We met on a dating app. Her name, or at least the one she goes by online, is Claire. I know that's probably not her real name, but honestly, I don't care. She seems warm, kind and real. Claire's been through her own rough patches. She divorced a few years back. Her ex-husband was a textbook mama's boy, the kind who never truly cut the cord, and his mother practically ran their marriage. Eventually, Claire had enough. She walked away, and I admire her for that. We're not meeting for anything serious. Just a couple of drinks, a conversation, maybe a shared laugh or two. But I have to admit, I've grown fond of her over the past few weeks. Talking to a woman again, feeling seen, even flirted with. It's like finding a part of myself I forgot existed. I didn't realize how deeply I'd missed that kind of connection until it came back into my life. You see, Marla, my ex-wife, was never someone who gave much affection. Even in the best of times, love felt distant, functional. So now, here I am in my 50s, feeling like a teenager again, catching feelings for someone new. I never thought that would happen. Claire has this gentle presence, a way of speaking that puts me at ease. I don't know if she'll feel the same, but I wouldn't mind being around her more. Not at all. My friends, these young guys from the biker club I joined, have been more excited about this date than I am. Last night they showed up at my place to help me pick out clothes, making sure I look sharp. I didn't know a simple date could be such a big deal. But then again, I guess I've been out of the game a while. They gave me a full list of do's and don'ts. Don't talk about your ex too much. Compliment her. Smile more. No dad jokes. You get the picture. Now they're all waiting on standby, eager for the post-date update like it's some season finale. And honestly, I'm excited too. For the first time in a long time, I feel like life is offering me something more than duty or disappointment. Something light, something hopeful. I've missed this feeling of having friends, of being alive in a world that's still full of possibility. Here's to that, to first dates, late chances, and the hope that maybe, just maybe, it's never too late to begin again.